my wife and I, we get into it sometimes on these things, and we podcasted about that, and we have our disagreements sometimes on how we can best play out Ephesians 5 as a society. I mean, we're pretty good. We have a great time in our marriage, and I feel like we both play our roles really well. We both understand each other's roles, and I think we've gotten better and better at it over time. But we have our beefs on this sometimes, and we don't always see things the same. And I was kind of explaining this article to her. I knew she wasn't going to read it, but I was explaining some of it to her, and she kinda I could see her getting, like, a little skeptical, and she's like, "Okay, this sounds really strong." And I was like, "Yeah, I agree, it does sound really strong." You know, a woman wrote it, doesn't mean that that's makes it not problematic, but I think it's interesting that it was written by a woman. But the thing that I told her is I said, "You know what's most interesting to me is that for conservative women, especially this idea that women are more naturally virtuous than men, I think is so interesting." But one of the arguments I had against this was just if you look at the map of if only women voted, a conservative would never serve in any political position ever again. And if you look at the map, if only men voted, a Democrat would never serve in any political position ever again, right? It would be like almost non-existent. Other than you see the major cities would still be kind of blue, but they'd be a lot closer. But it would be a huge swing in the opposite direction. And so I basically told her, I said, just think about it this way. When we talk about men and female dominated institutions and women getting into the majority stake here, these are the women. This is how they vote. This is what the things they believe in, the democratic policies of abortion all 9 months, open borders, low on crime, not as aggressive on national security and drug enforcement, all these sorts of things, because it's like empathy. We have to give people a million chances, and we have to have as much social safety net and all these things. That's why they constantly tug at your heartstrings and tell you you're going to get things for free and how much better they're going to make life for everybody. And Mom Donnie's going to make the trains free and no more crime. And violence is just a social construct. These are actually his words. And it's all very, very emotional over logical. And I just told my wife, I was like, she's very conservative. I said, if only women voted, we would live in your version of political hell. If only men voted, we would live in your version of political heaven. And I think that's a very interesting fact for a lot of conservative women, especially if you struggle with these types of things, these types of statistics, to think about. And that's not me saying there's men out there, Andrew Tates of the world, and those types of things that think women shouldn't vote and get really misogynistic and crazy. I don't believe that. I've never held any of those views. I've never touted any of those views. None of those things. What I think is really interesting is this connection, and that I do talk about where I get in trouble in the Catholic circles, is I do believe that feminism has infiltrated the church. I think that we're seeing this. I would love to know the statistics on when parish staffs became majority female. I wonder what the stats are on that. When you lost more and more priests and we hired more and more women. Do you think that happened maybe in the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s in the church? Do you think this kind of always empathetic, always nice, not doing the bold, hard evangelization, the soft homilies, the felt banners, the dancing, do you think does that lean like more masculine or feminine? We're lifting the fasting days, lifting, we don't have to do meatless Fridays all year round. You can just do it, 6 Fridays out of the year. Holy days of obligation. If it's on a Saturday, All Saints fell on a Saturday this year. That shouldn't be a day of obligation. You can't make people go mass back to back days. All this ease and easiness, and God accepts you as you are. And just you want to wear your Chiefs jersey to mass on Sunday, you do it, buddy, because God loves you as you are. And so we're not going to get upset about that. Those kinds of things, God doesn't care about that. Yes, let's sing All Are Welcome. Let us build a house where love can dwell and all can freely live, or whatever it goes. All are welcome. This rain down. All these goofy kind of songs are just really emotional and have no like theology or challenge to them. Communion on the hands and female altar servers and all these different things. Are we masculinizing the church or are we feminizing the church? And when do we hit that point? And what have been the effects of it? I don't know necessarily what the solution is to these things. I do know the solution in the church is to bring back the men leading the parish and having men be involved. This is one of the things I think is always super interesting when I go to different parishes, and as we've been getting kind of settled in here in Kansas City, is you have these questions. I've seen many things on X recently about women saying like, where are the good men? How is this woman still single? Where are all the guys? Me and my friends at church every Sunday and I don't see the men. And people point out like, well, a lot of times you're at these non-denominational churches and men aren't attracted to that. That's not the only issue, I don't think, but I do think there's this interesting thing where women want the men to lead, but they don't step aside so they can do it.